The words hit me like a slap from an invisible hand, sharp and stinging, leaving my ears ringing in the dim glow of our cramped apartment kitchen. "I'm moving in with Sarah for financial reasons," Jake said, his voice casual, as if he were discussing switching coffee brands. He leaned against the counter, sipping his beer, his eyes flicking to his phone screen instead of meeting mine. The fluorescent light buzzed overhead, casting harsh shadows on his face, making him look like a stranger. My fork clattered against the plate of half-eaten pasta, the sauce splattering like blood on the white tile floor. Financial reasons. After 3 years of shared rent, late-night talks, and promises whispered in the dark, rage bubbled up from my chest, hot and acidic, but I swallowed it, forcing a smile that felt like glass shards in my mouth. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice steady, even as my heart hammered a frantic rhythm against my ribs. Jake set his beer down with a soft clink, finally looking at me. His brown eyes, the ones I'd once drowned in, now seemed guarded, like windows with blinds half drawn. "Look, Emma, rent's killing me here. Sarah's got that big place downtown. Her roommate bailed, and she's offering me the spare room for half what I'm paying now. It's just temporary until I get that promotion." He shrugged, as if it were logical, inevitable. But I knew Sarah, his best friend since college, the one who always texted him at odd hours, who laughed a little too loudly at his jokes, who touched his arm just a second too long. Financial reasons. The phrase echoed in my head, mocking me. I pictured them together, her long auburn hair brushing his shoulder as they unpacked boxes, sharing wine on her balcony overlooking the city lights. Humiliation burned in my throat, a bitter taste that made me want to scream. Instead I nodded, murmuring, "Okay, if that's what you need." Inside, denial wrapped around me like a suffocating blanket. Maybe it really was just money. Maybe I was overreacting. That night, as Jake slept soundly beside me, his snores a rhythmic betrayal, I lay awake staring at the ceiling cracks that spiderwebbed like my fracturing trust. The sheets tangled around my legs, damp with sweat despite the autumn chill seeping through the window. Heartbreak clawed at my chest, a deep, aching void that made breathing hurt. How could he not see how this shredded me? Resentment festered, slow and insidious, whispering that I'd been a fool to ignore the signs, the late nights catching up with Sarah, the inside jokes I wasn't part of. I fantasized about confronting him, slamming doors, hurling accusations like weapons. But doubt crept in. What if I was wrong? What if pushing too hard drove him straight into her arms? The clock ticked mercilessly, each second amplifying my isolation in the bed we once shared as lovers. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the blinds in golden slats, mocking the storm inside me. Jake packed a duffel bag with casual efficiency, folding shirts I'd bought him, zipping up the toiletries we'd shared. "This isn't goodbye, Em," he said, pulling me into a hug that felt mechanical, his cologne, a woody scent I'd once loved, now turning my stomach. "We'll still see each other all the time." I hugged him back, my arms limp, forcing out a laugh that sounded hollow. "Yeah, of course. Financial reasons, right?" As the door clicked shut behind him, the apartment echoed with emptiness, the silence pressing in like a physical weight. I sank onto the couch, the fabric rough against my skin, and let the tears come, hot, furious streams that blurred the world. Humiliation twisted deeper. What would our friends say? Poor Emma, dumped for the best friend. Obsession took root then, a dark seed in my mind. I needed proof. I needed to know. Days blurred into a haze of feigned normalcy. At work, I stared at my computer screen in the sterile office cubicle, the hum of fluorescent lights and distant chatter a distant drone. My fingers typed emails on autopilot, but my thoughts raced. Was he with her now? Laughing in her kitchen, sharing breakfast. Resentment grew, feeding on memories. How Sarah had always inserted herself, tagging along on our dates, her green eyes sparkling with what I'd dismissed as friendliness. I scrolled through old photos on my phone during lunch, the cafeteria smells of reheated leftovers turning my appetite to ash. There we were, Jake and I, arms around each other at the beach last summer, waves crashing in the background. Sarah was in half of them, photobombing with a grin. Subtle hints nagged at me. The way he'd defend her when I joked about her clinginess, the unexplained charges on our joint card for dinners out. One evening, rain pattered against the windows like impatient fingers as I paced the living room, the carpet worn thin under my bare feet. Guilt flickered. Maybe I was invading his privacy, but obsession won. I logged into our shared cloud account, the screen's blue glow illuminating my tense face. There they were. Messages synced from his phone. "Can't wait to crash at your place," he'd written to Sarah a week ago. Her reply. "Finally. We'll have so much fun. Miss our late nights." Red heart, a heart emoji. My stomach lurched, bile rising. Scrolling further, the betrayal unfolded like a nightmare script. Flirty banter, inside jokes laced with innuendo, plans for movie nights that sounded anything but platonic. "Financial reasons, my ass," I whispered to the empty room, anger surging like a tidal wave. Heartbreak morphed into cold resolve, a steel edge sharpening in my core. He thought he could play me, humiliate me, to make him pay. But revenge wasn't immediate. It simmered, a slow burn that demanded precision. I met Jake for coffee that weekend at our usual spot, a cozy cafe with the aroma of fresh grounds and pastries wafting through the air. Steam rose from my mug as I stirred sugar absent-mindedly, the spoon clinking against porcelain. He arrived late, hair tousled, wearing a shirt I didn't recognize. Probably hers. "How's the new place?" I asked, voice light masking the storm inside. He grinned, oblivious. "Great. Sarah's an awesome roommate. We cooked dinner last night. Pasta like you make." The words twisted the knife. I smiled, nodding, but inside fantasies swirled, exposing their affair to our mutual friends, watching his world crumble. Doubt nipped at me. What if it backfired? What if I looked like the jealous ex? Moral conflict gnawed. Was I stooping to their level? As weeks passed, the apartment felt like a tomb, echoes of our laughter haunting the walls. I threw myself into work, the click of my keyboard a rhythmic distraction, but nights brought obsession's grip. I'd drive by Sarah's building, a sleek high-rise with glass facades reflecting city lights, parking in shadows to watch. One night, through rain-streaked windows, I saw them on the balcony, silhouettes close, her head on his shoulder. Fury ignited, hot and blinding, but I drove away, knuckles white on the wheel. Planning began in earnest then, quiet and strategic. I researched online in the dead of night, screen light casting eerie shadows on my face. Not violence, no, that was too crude, too risky. Something smarter. Financial ruin, perhaps, tying back to his excuse. He had debts I knew about, ones we'd planned to tackle together. What if I anonymously tipped off his creditors? Or exposed his side hustle, the undeclared freelance gigs that skirted taxes? Fear mingled with resolve as I sketched notes on a pad, the pen scratching like accusations. What if he traced it back? Guilt whispered. He wasn't evil, just weak. Sarah, though, she was the manipulator, the one who'd wormed her way in. Layered motives emerged in my mind. Jake's fear of commitment, Sarah's envy of our relationship. I tested the waters with subtle probes, calling him late one evening. "Miss you," I said, voice soft. He hesitated. "Yeah, me too. But this is working out." Suppressed rage boiled beneath my calm reply. Tension built, a taut wire ready to snap. A pivotal moment came at a mutual friend's party, the bass thumping through a crowded loft, laughter and clinking glasses filling the air. Jake and Sarah arrived together, her arm linked through his, a friendly gesture that screamed intimacy. Humiliation flushed my cheeks as whispers rippled. Poor Emma. I cornered him in the kitchen, the scent of spilled beer sticky underfoot. "Is there something you're not telling me?" I demanded, voice low but edged. He shifted, eyes darting. "What? No, it's just convenient." That night, alone in my car, rain drumming on the roof, cold resolve solidified. Revenge would be poetic. I'd dismantle their financial facade, expose the affair through clever leaks, watch them unravel. But doubt lingered. Was this justice or obsession run amok? The plan coalesced over sleepless nights, the city's neon glow filtering through my blinds like accusatory fingers. I sat at my desk, the wood cool under my palms, spreadsheets open on my laptop, tracking their routines, mutual connections, vulnerabilities. Obsession had become a companion, whispering strategies in the quiet hours. Jake's promotion hinged on a clean record. Sarah's job in PR demanded spotless reputation. I'd start small, planting seeds of doubt among friends via anonymous tips from burner accounts. Moral conflict raged. This could destroy lives. But resentment drowned it out. They destroyed mine first. Heartbreak had hardened into something sharper, a blade I honed with each remembered betrayal. First strike. A casual email to our friend group from a fabricated address, linking to a leaked chat log. Screenshots I doctored just enough to look real, blurring timestamps but keeping the flirty essence. Thought you should see this, the message read. I hit send in a coffee shop, the espresso machine hissing like my suppressed conscience. Fear prickled, what if they traced it? But excitement thrummed, a dark thrill. That evening, texts flooded in. Emma, have you seen this? Jake and Sarah. I feigned shock, voice trembling over the phone. No, what? Inside, cold resolve purred. Jake called the next day. His voice frantic through the speaker, traffic noise in the background. There's some crazy rumor going around. It's bullshit. Sarah and I are just friends. Lies again. I pictured him pacing her apartment, the modern fixtures gleaming mockingly. I believe you, I lied back, sweetness laced with venom. Tension escalated. Friends distanced themselves, invitations dried up. Sarah posted cryptic tweets about toxic people. Her profile picture a defiant smile that fueled my rage. Guilt surfaced in quiet moments, staring at old photos, remembering Jake's vulnerability after his dad's death, how Sarah had helped him through it. Was she the villain or had he chosen her? Layered doubts. Maybe I'd pushed him away with my insecurities. Suspense built as I escalated. Digging deeper, I accessed our old joint bank statements, passwords unchanged in his laziness. There, transfers to Sarah labeled rent help, but dates predating his move. Proof of an affair funded by our shared funds. Obsession drove me to a PI friend from work, meeting in a dimly lit bar, glasses clinking around us. Just check if there's more, I said, sliding cash under the table. He returned with photos. Them kissing in her lobby, hands entangled. Heartbreak resurfaced, raw and weeping, but I channeled it into action. Anonymous tip to Jake's boss. Check his expense reports, personal misuse. To Sarah's firm. Client complaints about conflicts of interest. Subtle, deniable but damaging. The unraveling accelerated. Jake showed up at my door one stormy night, rain dripping from his jacket, eyes hollow. Everything's falling apart, Em. Work's investigating me, friends are ghosting. You have to believe me, it's not what it looks like. He stepped inside, the door creaking shut, water pooling on the floor. I poured wine, hands steady despite the inner turmoil. What does it look like? Asked voice soft. He confessed fragments. Sarah and I. It started as comfort. But it's over now. I miss us. Manipulation. Or genuine regret. Suppressed rage flared. I wanted to slap him, but instead I nodded, feigning empathy. Maybe we can fix it. Inside, fantasies of his total downfall swirled. Sarah confronted me next, at a park bench under overcast skies, leaves crunching underfoot. You did this, didn't you? She hissed, her perfect makeup cracking with anger. Wind whipped her hair, carrying the scent of her perfume, the same one Jake now wore. You're ruining our lives over jealousy. Lives. Admission slipped through. I smiled coldly. Financial reasons, right? She stormed off, but doubt hit me hard. Was this justice, or had I become the monster? Moral grayness enveloped me. Their betrayal justified mine, but at what cost? Climax brewed at a confrontation dinner I orchestrated, inviting them to clear the air at a quiet Italian restaurant, candles flickering on checkered tablecloths, the aroma of garlic and tomato sauce thick in the air. Jake arrived first, nervous, ordering wine with shaking hands. Sarah followed, tense, her eyes darting. Dialogue crackled with tension. "Why are we here, Emma?" she asked, fork twisting pasta. I leaned in, voice steady. "To end the lies." I slid the photos across the table, the paper whispering against wood. Shock registered. Jake's face paling, Sarah's eyes widening. "This is fake," he stammered. But the evidence mounted as I revealed the bank transfers, the messages. Arguments erupted, accusations flying like shards. "You seduced him. You were never enough." In the chaos, hidden motives surfaced. Sarah confessed, tears streaking mascara. "I loved him first, in college. You stole him." Jake admitted weakness, guilt etching his features. "I didn't want to hurt you, Em. But hurt me he had." As they bickered, I slipped away, leaving them to their ruin. Outside, rain slicked the streets, reflecting neon signs and puddles I splashed through. The twist came days later. A call from Jake, voice broken. "The investigation cleared me, but Sarah's fired. And she's pregnant." It was a mistake. Shock jolted me. Unexpected consequences. Poetic justice. Or had my revenge ensnared an innocent? Guilt crashed over me. Obsessive resolve crumbling into regret. Heartbreak full circle. I'd won, but at the price of my soul's fracture. In the mirror, my reflection stared back, eyes hollow, a victor haunted by the gray shadows of vengeance.